adequate defensible space requirements. Often our citizens come to us stating that their insurance companies are requiring clearance distances far above and beyond our local codes. Have any thoughts on that, Carol?
We get questions like that a lot. Generally, as I said, we point them to the fire-wise codes, the building codes, fire codes. But then what comes into play where it may require more mitigation or more defensible space is that insurance company's underwriting guidelines. And that's going to vary from company to company, depending, say, if you live on a slope or you live in a higher risk area, that company may look at it from their underwriting perspective. That means what they're willing to write insurance for. Some companies are more conservative than others, so it can vary. But certainly they're going to ask them mainly what a county would also ask them from a fire-wise perspective. But then an individual insurance company is also going to have their own underwrite guidelines and their own willingness to write that property based on their own risk for their own company.
Yeah, this is also a bit of a puzzle for the planners because I think as we mature our codes to look at fire safety, we're probably going to want to take another look at our setback requirements, particularly in high-risk areas, and also, of course, our density requirements because if we don't have some of those clearances at the outset from the time development is approved, we obviously can't maintain the kinds of high clearances that you may see recommended in the WUI code, for example.
And Adrian, I'm glad you mentioned the WUI code because as you start to get into the WUI code, you'll find that the defensible space requirements are driven by the risk. So the higher the risk, the greater the clearance and fuels modification requirements are. It's an excellent tool.
As I said, insurance companies are getting stricter at any high-risk property they're willing to write. And insurance companies certainly don't share their underwriting guidelines because they're proprietary and it's antitrust. But that's why it's so important, I think, for the county officials to be talking to the insurance companies and just, getting buy-in in the planning process.
We still have more questions, but we only have about 30 more seconds, unfortunately. So what we'll do is we'll collect the questions that were not asked and send them out to the panelists and get them out to the participants so we make sure all questions are addressed. I want to thank everyone for your questions and your participation in today's webinar. A follow-up survey will be emailed to you in the next few days. Please take a few minutes to fill that out and let us know how to improve our webinars in the future. You can also learn about NACO's online education and future webinars at www.naco.org/webinar. The webinars are recorded and will be available at that website along with the presentations of our presenters. More NACO workshops and speakers and other educational opportunities will be presented at our upcoming legislative conference here in Washington, D.C. Please visit our website to learn more about the conference. I'd like to say a final thank you to Brenda, Carol, Adrian, and Kurt for taking the time to be with us today, and to all of you all for participating. Again, I'm James Davenport from NACO. Thank you very much for participating.